Hi, I'm Emma, and you're watching My Birthway, and I'm giving you the 18 weeks pregnant update today. So it's been an eventful week because I mentioned in the last video that I've really been able to feel this baby move a lot, and that's kind of been the main thing that's been happening this week is I'm feeling, I think him, but I don't know, all the time, pretty much. I mean, not when I'm sitting, not when I'm sleeping, but, yes, when I'm sitting, but not when I'm sleeping, and not really when I'm moving around and doing farm chores and stuff, but when I sit down, there's a lot of movement. Before, I think when I was just noticing it, I've noticed that it was more in the evenings. Now it's, I sit down to eat lunch, I sit down to eat dinner, I sit down to do whatever, if I'm standing up to do a chore or something. So there's a whole lot of movement. Originally, I was feeling what I think are kicks on the left side of my body, and now most of the kicks have moved to the central area, like right below my belly button, kind of. So that's kind of where I'm feeling it now. And that's just, I'm still getting used to that. I like the way it feels, but it still kind of shocks me sometimes because I've sort of gotten used to it. So I think, oh, you know, I sort of take it for granted, which is a weird feeling to have already started taking my baby's movement for granted after just, you know, being sure for like a week or a week and a half that the baby's moving around in there. So that's a huge update from this week. It's really cool. It's really exciting. And I've also, you know, obviously, as I get more and more pregnant, I've noticed that my uterus has definitely gotten bigger. And there's been periods of time, especially I noticed it starting with when I really knew that I could feel that the baby was moving. My uterus is really stretchy. And like I've had some feelings that I wouldn't really classify as pain, but they feel almost like when you get a cervical exam, like a pap smear, kind of that scraping or that movement. And I know there's not scraping going on in there, but that kind of movement or stretching, which I know is just my ability to feel what's going on now because things are getting bigger. Things are picking up the pace of, you know, rapid growth and change now. So right now at 18 weeks, the baby is about 5.5 inches long, I think, and still not very heavy. But 5.5 inches long is pretty long. It's like almost the length of, like, you know, the end of my palm to like my pinky, you know, depending on what your hand size is. So that's really cool. And that's from crown to rump. At around 20 weeks, they start measuring the baby from crown to foot, crown to toe, instead of crown to rump. Don't really know why they switched then, but right now the measurements, if you look them up, they're specifically for butt to head. So that's a really exciting thing that's been happening. Every time I feel the movement and Jason's near me, I say, oh, try see if you can feel, which I doubt he can yet. But every time that happens, the baby stops moving, which I think is pretty funny. So that's entertaining. Another thing that has picked up this week too is vaginal discharge. And I've mentioned that in another video, but like there's a whole lot more now. Because for a period of time, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant, early pregnancy. Like, I don't have to wear underwear. It's like really awesome. And, you know, I don't have any underwear that fits necessarily or any underwear that I can find. But now I definitely do. So that's changed a lot. And also the way I've been hungry has changed. So I'm still probably just as hungry as I was before, I guess. But I am not as hungry in the evening. I'm more hungry like now kind of at lunchtime. So I just had a lunch, but I think I'm going to have a second lunch because like I don't get too full too fast at lunch, it seems, and I really feel like I want to fill up my stomach like a lot during this time of day. Breakfast, I'm a little hungry. I'm not like starving like I used to be. But lunch, like midday, you know, like 10 to 3 is when I'm really hungry. So that's when I think I need to start eating most of my food. And then in the evening, my uterus is more stretchy and crampy and all that, I can tell. So I think that's one reason why I'm less hungry because everything feels kind of, weird in there. So that's something that's been happening. And then the other cool update is we went to our second prenatal appointment at the birth center that we are birthing at. So we've reserved our place there in July because you have to pay a fee to reserve to make sure you get a space to birth in the birth center as opposed to just being served at the nearby hospital with those midwives. And I definitely want to do it in the birth center. So we paid that. And Yeah, the second prenatal meeting was great, just like the first one. I knew it was a lot faster. I knew that it would be. We saw the same midwife, who I met during a birth before, and so I remember her from that, and she's fantastic. She's kind of like me, I think a little bit. She speaks quickly, and she gets to the point, but she doesn't rush you, so it's nice to just kind of shoot through my questions and get answers really fast when I'm there. Yeah, so like just a couple things that I asked about that I was curious about that maybe you're curious about, or maybe you already know the answer to this, but I just wanted to ask these questions. Some of them don't apply to how pregnant I am now, but I just asked about if there was any way to tell if my placenta was growing over my cervix without an ultrasound. And I was pretty sure from research that the answer was no, but I just wanted to check. And she said that there isn't, but usually at around 32 weeks, you would probably experience some bleeding if you had placenta previa. So that's nice to know, like, you know, that you just kind of keep an eye out for that. And then if that was the case, they would recommend doing an ultrasound to make sure, to check, you know, make sure everything was okay. I also just asked about, you know, all my stretching, making sure that was normal. And she said, yes, of course it is. And we also asked her to tell us a little bit about like how to wear a seatbelt when you're this pregnant, 18 weeks pregnant, because you're just starting to get a little bigger, but you're not huge. And of course, when you're big pregnant, you put the seatbelt well below your stomach, like really close to your crotch and like on your thighs, and tighten it and all that. You know, that makes sense. But you can't find really any literature online about how to wear the seatbelt when you are medium pregnant. And I asked her about that, and she was like, you just have to wear it where you would wear it, low on your body, you know, right by your thighs, kind of, even though that is still kind of over your uterus and where the baby is at the moment. She said that your, muscles in your body, in most cases, your uterine muscles and your abdominal muscles are going to protect a baby. And that does, of course, make a lot of sense. So that was good to kind of just confirm and know that, because I started thinking about that a lot lately. And then we asked her to use her fetoscope, which is sort of like a stethoscope, but different. It's apparently more sensitive, which I didn't know until we asked her, to see if she could hear the baby's heartbeat. And I knew it was probably early for that, but she consented. So she was like, sure, I'll check. She checked and she couldn't hear the baby's heartbeat, which, didn't scare me because I knew it was like probably a couple weeks too soon anyway. And she also said that to hear the baby's heartbeat with the fetoscope, the baby has to be curled up, with his or her back up against the front of your uterus so that they can hear it, because that's where the heart is going to be. Obviously, it's easiest to hear through their chest. So none of that was happening, so we didn't get to do that, which is fine. But we'll check again soon. And now, because we saw her use the fetoscope, we have one of our own. Maybe in a couple weeks before we go back for our next appointment, Jason can try and see if he can hear. So that'll be really fun. So that's our 18-week update. I'm definitely getting a little bit bigger, and but it depends on the time of day. Like in the morning, I don't feel very, very big. And then in the evening, after I've spent all day eating food, I feel a lot bigger. After eating huge meals, I'm bigger. I mean, of course, that makes sense. So things are great. I'm still feeling great. I feel like I've had a really great pregnancy so far. And it's really fun to reflect back and think about it and realize that I'm almost kind of halfway already. 18 weeks, that's almost halfway. It's a weird feeling. It's already going too fast. And we have a lot of things to do around here to get ready for both baby and for other business stuff that we're doing in the spring. And so we really need to get started on that. But part of me just kind of wants to sit and just think and just revel in being a pregnant person. So I'm sort of in this weird limbo between wanting to get prepared for the future and before things get harder when I'm bigger and before the baby's born, and wanting to just kind of sit and relax and enjoy this nice weather we've been having and reflect on being a pregnant person for the first time. So I just need to get better at balancing that, I think. But yeah, that's my 18 weeks update. It's been great. Remember, feel free to comment on this video, or you can send an email to the email that is in the info at the beginning or the end of the video. And I just thank you for listening and for caring about my pregnancy journey. And I really hope that this video series so far has helped you just get a little window into the kind of raw, real world of what pregnancy is like, the positives, the the weird negative feelings you might have at sometimes, and then just the crazy physical changes that happen that a lot of people don't know about until it happens to them, because we don't live in a world where we discuss it as much, we don't see it as much. It's not open discussion to talk about vaginal discharge or, you know, all sorts of things like that. So thanks for listening, and I will see you next week when I give you the 19 weeks pregnant update. And have an awesome day. Okay, bye.